everyone, this is Darryl20, and welcome to episode 79 of Darryl20's Enigmatica 2 Expert Mode series, where I am testing out one option on how to auto-craft this stuff. Because remember we said, last episode we wrapped up and we said basically, long story short, Applied Energistics and most other mods don't appreciate it when you say you need item X to craft more of item X. Or in this example, we need 1 flux core to make 4 flux cores. Applied Energistics gets confused. And we want to make sure we never use up all the flux cores. Because if we do, then we have to make another dimensional transceiver, which requires a lot of things, including a dragon heart, which I would like to avoid having to do. So what we're going to do today is ideally and hopefully test out a scenario that will keep things happy. So in theory, right, you should keep 3 of these guys stocked at all times. I want 1 of these guys stocked at all times, okay? So I'm going to put 3 of these in here. We might even do at flux. Okay, so you've got 1 of those in there at all times, right? And what I'd like to do, boop, is set up a filter on this guy, which will whitelist 1 of these. Okay? And you will be extracting 1 at a time, ignored. So that, right, should extract 1, put it in here, and then keep another 1 in stock. Okay? Cool. Now, here's the scenario, right? If we say that I want some flux cores, right? I want to make those, right? You don't have any flux, so you're going to have to get some. Boom. Okay. And that, so that's going to craft 4 of those with 4 obsidian and 4 flux that's available, right? So to do this, I'm going to say redstone on to activate just to demonstrate how this is working, right? So we'll start this dude, right? These guys will show up, right? Then we set this to ignore it again. We get our 4 flux cores, okay? And then we got to servo this back up. Which means the flux core is going there. And our crafting is complete. Now, the problem is that you do that. So realistically, let me cancel this. Because what's actually happening is we're getting 3. No, we get 4. We get 4. Why did you get confused with that flux coring? Why did you get confused? Because we do technically get 4, because we pass in the items that we need, the 4 obsidian and the 4 flux. It might be stealing it before it's ready? Could that be what's happening? I might want to change this pattern to be just 2. And what that'll mean is it'll overcraft flux cores for me, which is really not a problem. I'm totally cool with you overcrafting flux cores, because what will happen is we'll just use them next time. Right? So now, the other thing we need to know is how to do flux. So this stuff, right? So you're going to need that in this mode. Boom. And you are actually going to need... Oh, really? You need a pillar of black quartz? Like, you need a pillar of black quartz? Does it have to be a block or pillar? Oh, really? You'll take pillar? I mean, I'm not complaining. Because that's technically a cheaper recipe. So I'll take it. And that should be cool. Yeah, so last episode we got into Flux Networks. How exciting is that, right? So now... we pop down into this dude, right? And let's say we want like 10 of these dudes, right? So we're going to start it up, okay? You're going to drop the things in there. And you're going to do your thing. Okay. And then if we look at this guy, we should see no crafting jobs. And we got more than 10, but that's okay, because we'll use them eventually, right? At some point, we'll do something that needs those flux cores. So overcrafting them and erring on the side of caution, I think, is good. The other thing I'm going to do is make sure to keep 2 flux cores chilling in this chest at all times. Unavailable to the network, disconnected in every way, shape, and form. You can't have access to them applied energistics, just in case you decide to be dumb and somehow, some way, make the decision that you want to use up all my flux cores. I don't know how or if that's possible with the way the setup is now. I feel like it's not. I feel like it should always keep 1 flux core in here and pass 1 down to here. And it's always going to have basically 2 available, right? One's always going to be sitting in here, and one's always going to be sitting in here. And you'll always craft more than you need. So in theory, it should be impossible, but you never know. So we should be a little bit safe, right? The other thing I want to do, if I may, is get a controller. I've got an extra ME controller that I started crafting off camera, and I set this thing to just make a bunch of charged Certus for me, because we need more charged Certus. At some point, I should probably just automate the charged Certus, put the energetic infuser downstairs somewhere, but I am, like, ridiculously messy down here. It's getting insane how much of a mess there really is, right, going on. Like, it's nuts, the sloppiness that is my base right now. I don't even know how to process how messy this place is. And my brain is struggling to comprehend it. And I'm afraid that we're about to get into even more complex things. Is compact machines in this? It is. It is. I assume this is the standard recipe. Yes. And I assume that you are also the standard recipe. How about you? Standard recipe, standard recipe, standard recipe. Doesn't look like it's been expertified, which is cool, which means compact machines is a thing. So if we want to, do that, that's great. I don't know if cables connect between compact machine walls, but it's something we might want to investigate. I'm just saying, it's something we might want to investigate. Are you done crafting? Good. Cables? Check. Because what I want to do, if I may, is disconnect you, right, which is going to lose access to pretty much all of our crafting capabilities. And then drop another one of these guys here. Boom. Which gives us more channel connectors. And then you should bump back up to 32 lickety-split. Booyah. And we want some anchors. Yeah, I think cable still works. Cable anchor. Not that right. Nether quartz cutting knife, sure. I feel like we should have had some of those already, but it's all good. Cool. So you can have a connector point there. And there. And what I'm thinking is we basically, and this is about to get super dire wiry. Technically, you won't be needed then because I just changed my opinion on how I want this to look. Right? That should be cool. So I should be able to run this guy. Should be able to run this guy. Boom. Right down there. And the cable anchors will prevent any excess connections from happening. Right? How cool is that? Gotta love cable anchors. Nice. Okay. So with that all cool and groovy. That's pretty spiffy. That should give us 32 more connections. And as you can see, I kind of already prepared an area down here. I shifted around a little bit how that's going to look. And I kind of got prepared for what's going to be the build. So we've already done this on camera, right? So what I think I will do, just for the sake of, not repeating content, I'm going to build another one of these upside down Christmas tree things off camera. And be right back. Real quick note, I'm throwing acceleration cards in all these guys, and I might go throw acceleration cards in all the others. This will make my auto crafting a lot, and I mean a lot, faster. because these guys can all accept acceleration cards, right? So that might be, can I have like another 100 of you? Sure, why not? A little bit faster, a little expensive to do, but not, you know, end of the world expensive, just pricey. Cool. And then, cool. All right, back when I'm done with this setup. Just wanted to mention the acceleration card bit. All right, if I'm not mistaken, this should be 32 channels then. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I'd rather you not be connected there. So let's boop that. Anchor this and that. Also, I think I found a way to access these things without being a complete gigantic mess of rewiring everything. I think I can break one of these. All right, that's a bad example, that one. Break this. Okay, and then I have access to one. This one should already been done from the one side. 2, 3. So that was 5. That's 8, 9. This one's already done. 10, 11, 12, 13. $14, $15, $16, because remember there's 17 of these things in each setup. 17. Ah, nice. Okay. So that should get acceleration cards in all of our crafts, which should just make crafting faster in general. And I'll take it. So, hey, we've got our interfaces up to date and cleaned up. So let's get to work today. Because what I want to do is start enjoying the fact that we have Flux Networks available to us, which is super cool, right? Like, how awesome is that? Flux Networks for the win. Booyah. Let's get to work. So, Flux Networks, right? Isn't that neat? So we want to learn how to make a flux block for sure. We know that. And you know how to make flux cores. We want to make a flux plug. We want to make a flux point. Right? Now points remove energy from the network. Plugs add energy to the network. And then I wouldn't mind a flux controller. That would be cool. And I would love some flux storage, but that's really expensive. Like crazy so. So we might want to hold off on that. Now, I've never found a need. How are we for these things, by the way? Oh yeah, that's what's up. Booyah. Now we're cooking. Look at all those interfaces. It's grand. I'm just gonna, it doesn't matter where they go, right? I've never found an absolute need for a flux controller, right? I've never found that that's necessary. But it also doesn't hurt, right? So flux points add energy to the network. Flux plugs remove energy from the network. So the question is, how do we want to do this? Usually I like to have 2 networks, right? One for the generators and one for like everyday use, right? So there's your flux points and or plugs, and then here's some points. Let's get like a bunch of those, right? So see how it's going to craft a bunch of this stuff? Let's just make sure that like we don't actually run out of troublesome stuff, because it should be cool. This is our test to make sure flux cores actually behave themselves, because they should, right? And then we should wind up with extra flux cores. Nice. Nice. That worked. That worked. And we didn't run out. Okay, cool. Now, do I want a flux controller? I mean, they're not expensive, right? So, yes, we want a flux controller for our generators network. And this will get a little bit dire wiry, but, like, also a reduction of dire wire, right? Like that's the goal, right? A reduction in dire wire. So this room here, right? So we've got like this ultimate energy cube. Look at all this giant mess that we have. Like it is a giant mess, right? Like we totally own the fact that this is a giant mess, right? Like no one here is pretending this is not a giant mess. We get it. We agree that this is a mess and needs to be cleaned up. Like we've still got this stuff sitting here. Like I don't even know what you are and like why you exist, right? Like what even is this cabling? Right? I don't know that you even need to exist anymore. I don't know. It's insanity is what it is. So let's clean this up a little bit. So you've got energy coming into the bottom, right? And that's your generator's network, right? So what we want to actually do is clean this up in such a way that we can remove all of this messy wire, right? So this is your generators, right? Like these are the 3 things generating power. Well, the 4 things, right? Because we got one underneath there, don't we? So we've got a gas burning generator there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all 4 of these guys come together to generate that, right? So you're going to be a flux plug, and I think what I'd like, I kind of want this in this room. I just kind of don't know where. I'm thinking maybe like up in the ceiling, right? So you are going to be a new network. So we're going to create a new network. We're going to call it generators, right? Sure. Allow conversion true, energy type, Forge energy, Tesla, Redstone flux. Redstone flux or Forge energy? I don't think it matters. We'll stick with Forge energy, and if it becomes a problem, we'll find out, right? So 255... 0 and 0. And that's going to be your generators network. Done. Okay, so you're going to be on generators, and you're going to be the flux controller, right? Wireless charging is disabled. There won't be a transfer limit, right? And that'll be good for now, right? And you, okay, will be a new network called Direwolf20's network, right? And the blue color seems fine to me, right? Forge energy, check. Boom. Direwolf20's network, okay? No and yes for wireless charging. Should be cool, right? And what that should do is fill up that dude. And once that's done, I'm going to say we don't need that dude no more, and we can get him out of our inventory. But we're going to find out. Actually, I'm going to turn you off for now, and then we'll figure it out from there. So to get energy into... I'm going to remove you for just a moment. Into Direwolf20's network, right? Well, let's get it into the induction casing first, right? Well, let's get into Direwolf20's network, because I feel like that's important, right? You're starting to lose energy? Yeah, we should do something about that. So plug, right, because this guy's outputting energy. He's going to go into the Direwolf20 network, okay? There will be no transfer limit, and that's about all there is to it, right? Maybe I should teach you a small amount of reservoir power just so we can see things filling up. So, like, you wouldn't be too bad. And hey, more patterns, please. Oh, good, we have some patterns. Give me more, though. Okay. Molecular assembler, Flux Networks. Gimme a basic flux storage, which doesn't hold a lot. It's 10 million RF. But it'll just show us that everything's behaving itself, right? And that's nice. Also, it's another good test of our flux core crafting system. And again, the key here was making it think that it only gets 2 flux cores when it gets 4, because then it's always going to craft a little extra, and we should never run out. Okay. So your job, Buster, will be Direwolf20's network storage. And good, you're getting power. Nice, 10 million RF, filling up super fast, right? And your output is 100,000 RF a tick. Cool. So your transfer limit can also be off. Nice. Nice. You're capable of 204. Good to know. So you have no transfer limit. You have no transfer limit. And you have no transfer limit. Beautiful. Okay. So now I'd like to send that power directly into this guy. So what I'm going to do is config the top to be an input. Okay. And you are going to be this guy, the flux point from Darrell-20's network. Boom. And you should fill that up almost instantaneously. So it immediately filled up, which is nice. And that's that. Like, boom, done, right? So now this guy is sending power to the Flux network, and the Flux network is powering the cube, which is powering the rest of the base. And then one of my to-do lists between episodes will be to start using more Flux networks and less Direwire throughout the base, right? But once we get the Flux networks up and running, we should be cool. So step 2 of this will be generators, right? So we need a Flux plug, U, on the generators network with no limit on transfer. And U can be a flux point on the generators network, 25,000 RF a tick. Nice, 23,000 RF a tick. Beautiful. So you've got an input of 23,000, you've got an output of 1.5 thousand, and you're going to slowly fill up, right? So this guy is doing his job. He is sending power from the generators into the induction matrix, right? So the generators are their own subnet, right? So their own network of power. So what that means is pretty much anything that generates power is going to feed into the red network, and it'll all get dumped into the induction matrix, okay? And anything that's going to use power, so anything else in the base, will go out of the induction matrix, out to all the different stuff. And we've got a little buffer here as well to make sure things behave themselves. And that should be cool, right? Shouldn't that be cool? I think that should be cool. So what that should mean is far faster crafting, in theory. Because, like, say we wanted to make more of that charged draconium stuff, right? Which is to be fair, very expensive. So now the main problem here is you can only output 204,000 RF a tick. So we're limited more so not by the Flux network at this point, but by the induction casing, right? We should, in theory, make this thing larger. And have more internal components to be able to transfer more RF a tick more efficiently. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure that out next. So that's cool, right? So this guy's just like a little bit of buffer power for some things, for basically the entire base. The entire base that I have set up at this point all runs out of this dude, right? Everything runs out of that, right? Which is cool, which is great. It works, right? It does its job. These guys are always a problem too. So so what I should do, right, realistically, is I could just like remove this energy cube. Okay, because I'm not sure where the hiccup is, right? But you could be an output on the top, right? So are you using energy at all? Like, you should be, in theory, right? Shouldn't you be using some kind of energy here? $51.2. Why are you so full on energy? You're going to input on the bottom eventually. Is it because of that? Yeah, it's probably because of that. Can I put you here? Would that be better? So that the left is output? Yeah, now we're cooking. Right? 50.8. So we had some kind of loop going on there, and that was the problem. So if we wanted to make the top input, we would do something like Darrell-20's network. Boom. And now you stay full. Cool. So this is now its own little isolated network of power, right? Separate from all the other things going on. It's kind of cool. I'm liking it. Liking it. All right. So we've got Flux networks in a pretty stable point at this point. All right, guys. So now that we've got this running, we're going to want more generators, right? Because our generators are doing a lickety-split just fine job. They are cool, but I think we're going to need a lot, and I mean a lot, and I mean a lot more power going forward, right? We saw some of the crazy numbers that are going to be necessary as we progress further into this mod pack. So having a nuclear reactor, probably fusion-based, is the way to go. Now, a couple episodes back, one of the comments noted that the best fuel for a fusion reactor would be deuterium and tritium. Mostly because that gives neutronium as a side effect, right? Neutronium fluid, which I guess is the only way to get, or maybe not the only way. Neutron fluid. So like, the neutron collector is a thing, but we can get neutronium fluid. Okay. Which will also get us neutronium ingots, which is pretty cool. Yeah, neutron collector. Definitely has a recipe, though. So I don't know if we need... I don't know exactly what the deal is, but it looks like we can at least craft this thing. Oh, we definitely need mica, though. We need to get into environmental tech. Is environmental tech available to us yet? Oh, we have so much we gotta do. Environmental tech is unlocked, right? Gates for environmental tech. Are you like unlocked? Yeah. We've got litherite crystals. We got that from where again? I forget. We got it from somewhere. Didn't we find it? Orogenish? Fluid transposers can make it. Where'd we get a litherite crystal from? We have 2 litherite crystals. I don't know where we got them from. Some kind of quest reward bag or something? I don't even know. I really don't. Wow, that's a thing, isn't it? So litherite crystals we'll probably need a few of. But I noticed that the lens preferential stuff is much better than it was in previous versions. Oh, wow, look at that. 20%. Wow. 1 in 5 chance of getting litherite with base stats. That's pretty good. Previous versions of this mod, those chances were pretty low, and you needed a really expensive crystal doohickey. Anyway, we'll look at that eventually. I want to do nuclear craft first, right? Because environmental tech is going to require a lot of power in order to generate ores out of nothing. So let's get the generation of power first, and then we'll move into the generation of ores out of nothing, including the environmental tech ores that we're going to need, and then we'll kind of go from there. Cool? So back to what we were doing, nuclear craft, right? So the goal here, I guess, would be to get a fusion core, right? And some other fusion stuff. Now, can we jump right into a fusion core, or do we need to go through some of those other quests? Right, so a fusion core requires elite plating, magnesium diboride solenoids, machine chassis, and chemical reactors. So crystal binder we know we have. Boron ingots we should be cool with. DU plating should be doable. Uranium we've got cooking. Sulfur, advanced plating, all this stuff seems doable-ish, right? So we know how to make advanced plating, right? That seems pretty straightforward. Can we get steel from the alloy guy? Steel ingots from thermal. Can you be made in the alloy furnace? You can. Alloy smeltery. Yes. 1 iron ingot and 4 pulverized coal. Or 1 coal coke. I was just thinking out loud. That's more expensive, I think, than what we currently got going on, right? So tough alloys. How about you? Can you make tough alloys? Tough alloys in the alloy smeltery. Totally doable. Lithium plus ferroboron. I should probably look into doing that. Because I know we're going to need a lot of those. I love this alloy smeltery just because of how fast it is. How stinking fast it is. It's the best. How are you on channels, buddy? 4 out of 8? Cool, not a problem. Hey, you are going to need to be a pull out the back because we're going to need another interface pronto on you, buddy. Actually, you could probably stay. Because that... Nope, don't need the big one. Let's move all these guys out of the alloy furnace, and if anything ever gets stuck, we'll know what happened. Cool. So no more auto-crafting in that thing, because it's slow. By comparison to this dude, it's much slower. This guy's so fast, right? Right? Like, if I want 4 of you... You gotta make the steel first. But this guy should be, like, super quick, right? Let's see. Boom. Look at that. Boom, boom. Oh, you can't go wrong. I love it. That thing's so fast. All right. So advanced plating from nuclear craft. Is that a quest complete? Because I feel like it should be. Yeah, it is. So somebody said I can hit that to get my quest reward. Oh, that's much better. Hey, a music disc. Sweet. Yeah, if you hit this thing, it updates the claiming dude, right? So DU plating is also complete, right? DU plating. So I feel like we can skip a little bit of stuff, right? So you're making all that stuff, and you know how to create all these things? Cool. I don't know how you know how to create that, but you know somehow. So there's that guy, which was already marked complete, but I just grabbed it for the sake of it. Now, elite plating is the next tier, right? Do you know how to make that? Apparently, I did teach this. Good job, past Direwolf. You done did good. Crushed rhodochrosite and all that other good stuff. That's the stuff that we automated back here, right? All this stuff, which uses a ton of power, by the way. Ton of power, right? And if this starts to become like a power choke, then what we can do is we can integrate. In fact, I might want to do that, because remember how much power this thing used? Where's all your power feed come in from? You all come in from around there somewhere, right? So let's take a look at power. All you guys come in off the main power line here, right? So if I removed you, you'd all be isolated now from our main power feed, right? And then to get you working again, we just need to hook you up to the generators network, and then boom, you're outputting all the arithmetic you need. Sweet. And then you're groovy. You should be settling down. Okay. And if I asked for a couple more elite platings, you're all of a sudden going to spike the amount of arithmetic you're using, right? Because see how much it uses? It's actually using quite a lot of arithmetic. So I don't want that draining the main network. Because remember, we had some competing power problems, where basically if a lot of things were crafting all at once, the network started to choke a bit. And this was a definite big one, right? Another big one of these problem guys was down here. Right, so I think we're going to put one of these dudes here on the generators network. So that if I want a hardened cell frame, because remember that's like 10 million RF a tick, or 10 million RF, not 10 million RF a tick, 10 million RF total, right? This guy should spike up. Now he's using a bunch of RF, right? So it looks like 4,000 is about where you settle. Good to know. Now at least we know what the RF a tick usage is, right? Like 4,000 RF a tick. Because you guys are limited by how much you're allowed to accept at a time. All right, good to know, though. Good to know. We are making good things, right? So there's your elite plating, which is quest complete. Bada bing. Bada boom. Hey, the Rod of Terra Firma? That's kind of a nice one to have. That's a really powerful Britannia item. It's the thing that flattens the ground. So Fusion Core then also requires a chemical reactor, which requires a salt mixer. The salt mixer. Not sure what you're for. What do? You combine fluids. Okay, cool. So you need another basic electric motor. I'm kind of just doing the quests that we need to get to Fusion, and then we'll just fill everything else in as needed, right? Steel ingot and machine chassis. You just make like 100 of these? Because that would be super cool for me right now. And you know what else would be super cool? I should consider upgrading these guys. At some point, that shouldn't be too hard to do. Right? See, look, he's choking on power. That's what I'm talking about. The power choke problem. We got everything else crafting right now. And he's just like, hey, I don't quite have the power that I need. To be fair, you need 400,000 RF a tick at that speed that we've got going on right now. So that, I mean, we can only do 25, right? Because of our conduiting, the way we have it is, right? So, yeah. Once your tick acceleration slows down there, we should be in better shape, right? Oh no, you still need 400,000 R for tick. Yeah, whatever. We'll manage that at some point. Anyway, salt mixer. That should be everything we need to make one of those. Cool. Quest complete. Ding, ding, ding. And we have a chemical reactor, because we used those to make some of that stuff before. So now it's all about the fusion core, right? The fusion reactor is a large multi-block generator capable of generating massive amounts of power. It's a pretty complicated structure, so I highly advise that you watch a spotlight on it or read through a guide. The mod author made this spotlight on YouTube. That's not actually a hyperlink, it's just colored text. Sorry. You will need the neutron fluid it produces as a byproduct for the creative tank. See? We need the neutronium fluid, the neutron fluid. So neutron fluid is made in a fusion reactor between hydrogen and tritium, deuterium and deuterium, or deuterium and tritium, which I'm told this is the best combination, right? So you get similar, you get to helium you get from this, right? There's lots and lots of different fluids. This is where I got confused-ish, right? Base max power, base combo lifetime, 28 seconds. This is like the 576,000 R for tick. This is where I got a little confused, right? So hydrogen here, 57,000, 57,000. I think when you're looking at this, it's showing you the combination base power. Because see how, like, here we've got hydrogen, and his base power is 57.6? And here we've got tritium, and his base power is 57.6? Right? If we drop down here, we see this is 576. Right? And that's the same thing, it's just tritium. Optimal temperature, 816 megakelvin. Wow, okay. 5,728. Okay, cool. Million Kelvin, megakelvin? I don't know. So I think when we mouse over this, it's showing us the combination. So 576,000 R for tick is your base max power. I think you can get more than that. Right? So that's pretty cool. And that's 432, and that's 28,000, and that's 172, 115, 28, 14.4. Modems, 28.8 modem, 14.4 modem, 14.4, 14.4, and 7,200. So I think the YouTube comment that said tritium plus deuterium is your most efficient setup was an accurate statement. I think that is true. All right, so what I think I'm going to do is between episodes refresh myself on how this whole thing works. But I remember we need a fusion core, and we have to put stuff around it, and we have to power the things around it with a lot of power. And then we can pump the tritium and deuterium in, which accepts mechanism versions of those liquids, by the way, which is cool because I'm hoping that those versions are really easy to get, right? Mechanism's liquid tritium comes from tritium, which comes from the solar neutron reactor from lithium. So we have that, don't we? Don't we have a solar neutron doohickey? Isn't that what this is? No, this is a thermal evaporation. Okay, cool. I think this is part of making tritium, though. So we might want to look into making tritium. We'll see. For now, though, 20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We will come back next time, and we will do some more nuclear craft stuff and prep for building something that's going to generate a stupid amount of power. We might need to expand our induction casing. I think I already did a shout-out requesting a nuclear, some kind of power production building so that I can move this thing into that building, and we'll have the nuclear reactor, the fusion reactor in there as well. So if anybody wants to submit a video or a building for that, that would be cool. We'll have a fusion / power storage building. And now that we have Flux Networks, it doesn't matter where it goes because it can be anywhere. Huzzah! All right, guys, take it easy.